Hey guys, it's Queen Anh from the IELTS Workshop. I'm back today with yet another video of the daily vlog. I know that by now everybody is already aware of the current plague that is going on in the world that is causing havoc everywhere. Our country, as well as many others, is currently practicing social distancing, which is basically staying at home and keeping distance from people in public areas. I know that there are so many problems that we have to deal with during this difficult time, but one of them could be staying productive. So how can you study English productively? How can you study English effectively during this time of quarantine? I'm going to address this problem in this video, and if you guys are facing this issue, please tune in and enjoy the video. So, the first thing that we have to do is to get started, right? For many people, getting started can be as difficult as continuing on with the work. So a tip for you guys is to start with something light and breezy, because that will give you the motivation to build up the intensity afterwards. Maybe you can log onto YouTube and watch a video, an English video on any topic of your interest. For me, it's usually fashion, cooking, makeup, skincare reviews, and of course like social topics, but it depends on your interests, so do you. Alright, but before anything, please get a notebook. This will be where you jot down all the new and useful vocabulary items that you encounter in the video. I think that it's really important to write things down because in English we have something that is called passive vocabulary, which means vocabulary items that we know, that we understand when we read and listen, but we can't really use it off the top of our head when we're speaking and writing, for example. So in order to convert them into active vocabulary, which means vocabulary items that we can readily use when we're producing language, we have to be exposed to them as many times as possible. And writing really helps with that. Also, please don't overlook like familiar words. Maybe you think you know them, but this time they will be used in a completely different context with a completely different meaning. So please make sure to pay attention to everything. Okay, so right now I'm watching a video about summer lookbook. You know, summer is coming and I want to look cute, so I'm going to try and find new inspirations for summer outfits. Okay, please watch with me. Alright, so as you can see in the subtitles here, she used a very interesting word, and that is delude. So I'm going to write delude down. Alright, but writing the word alone, like without anything besides it, it's actually quite ineffective to use it in the correct context. So I would go back to the sentence right here. You can see that she used delude with ourselves and then into and then verbing. So I guess the general phrase should be delude somebody into doing something. Alright, that is the structure, and I will go back to like look up the meaning after I finish the video. Okay, so another word that I found about fashion is color blocking. So apparently from the video, color blocking should be a term for a fashion trend, and judging from these pictures, you can see it's basically about combining colors, different blocks of colors together. Alright, let's continue. Okay, so another word that I found is scandalous. Judging from the word scandal and also from the slit of her dress, I'm thinking scandalous is like to describe something that is a little bit more sexy, that is a little bit more revealing. And yeah, and you can continue on with the rest of the video and just write down anything that you find interesting. I think that this is really important because when you watch a video on a certain topic, you learn a lot of new words about that topic, and later when you do the IELTS test, maybe you're asked a part 1 question about fashion. These will be very useful words because topical vocabulary is much more highly appreciated than just general words that you can use for any topics. So let's say you're done with the video and now you're going to look up the new words. So I have the word delude here, and here it says delude means to make someone believe something that is not true. Alright, so here we have another meaning that is quite similar but more specific. To fool yourself into believing that something is true because you want it to be true when it's actually not true. He's deluding himself if he thinks he's going to get that promotion. Okay, so you're going to write the whole meaning down. I usually write down English meaning because I find it to be more true. When I look up like English Vietnamese dictionary, it tends to be quite misleading, so I would recommend you to look up the English meaning instead of the Vietnamese meaning. Okay, so now that you're all warmed up and while you're still at it with the listening, why don't you try to finish a listening practice test? After all, the test only lasts 30 minutes, which is a piece of cake compared to the reading and the writing tests. I know that it sounds tedious, but believe me, after you're done with the video, you feel hyped up and you feel like you can keep the ball rolling, and that is when you can get the most things done. So I have my headphones ready, and I also have the PDF right here, the audio ready as well, and I'm going to start the test. I'll see you in 30 minutes.
A few moments later.
Alright, so I'm finished with the test and the results were quite good, so I'm going to give myself a snack break. My mom actually made me some mangoes right here, and I also have mui ô mai to go with it, so I'm gonna have some break.
One eternity later.
Alrighty, so let's get back to work. Now I'm reading a book, and just like with the video, I have written down new and interesting vocabularies that I encounter. This specific word, adulterate, is something I find exceptionally fascinating, so I looked it up right away. I have here the English definition, I have the examples, I have the antonym, and also collocations, just to make sure that the next time I remember it and the next time I use it, I would be able to use it accurately and appropriately. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of reading, so usually I would just go through 1 or 2 chapters. If you want, you can definitely read more, and you can also do a reading practice test instead of reading a book. But now, let's move on to speaking. Okay, so for speaking practice, you can always find topics online. I found something about jeans, which is directly related to the video that I just watched previously. I hope that I will be able to use some of the new lexical items that I have written down in the sample answers that I will be preparing. And when I am preparing for the answers, usually I would just write down the phrases, the new words, and try to make sentences out of them, rather than writing the whole answer, every sentences, because memorizing really makes your speech a lot less natural and a lot more robotic. Alternatively, if you don't want to do speaking, you can always do writing practice. If you're even too lazy to write an essay. Please look up the topics, please brainstorm them, and please read a whole lot of sample answers so that you can see how the ideas can be developed and what new words can be used in that topic of the essay. Okay guys, so that is everything for today. Those were the tips that I have for you on how to study English effectively at home. Of course, everybody has different preferences and everybody has a different approach to studying English. That was my routine, but of course, if you want to follow it, be free to do so. If you don't want to follow it, or if you have a different routine, a different approach to studying English, please share it in the comments so that others can learn from you too. That's it. Thank you for watching this video. This has been Queen Anh from the IELTS Workshop. Bye!